You just want me to pretend like I'm talking?
Hello. So I have a treat for you guys today. This is Peter Kojesta. He is the CEO of Exis Interactive. I worked with Peter like way back in. Did we meet in
It was the
1998?
90s, man.
It was like 1998 or 1999
No,
or something.
before that, we were at E3 1997 or 96 down in Atlanta together.
Was it that? That's too early, dude. Like
No, I'm telling you, it was
90.
then. Those were
Was it
the only
really?
2 years that E3 was in Atlanta.
Holy shit. Wait, that doesn't even make sense because I went to GDC 2000. I don't think I went to E3 till after that, right?
It was in the 90s.
Well, the way I remember is we met in like 98 or something. I got my PC in 97. That was the first year I actually had a PC.
And it might have been 97. Because you remember being down in Atlanta, right? We were chilling in the hotel room and you
We're
were playing
getting
your
in a fight right
guitar.
away. This is
And
awesome.
EJ Sue was there. He did that what is it? He did that cool like I handed him a napkin sketch and he like turned it into that really awesome character that I ended up like making for one of the sci-fi projects I was working on.
And I remember bringing my classical guitar to like
Hmm.
to like just dork around with music ideas,
Yeah.
and then it like the bridge came off or something like. And do you remember that?
I do remember that.
I'm so terrified to bring a guitar on a plane because of that kind of shit. Anyway, so the point is that well, the way I remember it, I met Peter like just like a bit before I started working on Dragon Ball, and so a lot of the music that I did for Peter either predates the Dragon Ball Z stuff or is simultaneous. Like I was actually
Mhm.
doing both for a bit.
Well, I mean, we still haven't technically stopped working together.
That's
So
right.
you like yeah, even my latest project has a piece you do, like the main title theme of Dragonhold is Scott Morgan.
That's awesome. Yeah. Um. So yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna say shit because I don't. This is not very well planned out, but like, my first album, I don't think it's documented online, but I believe in the. I was trying to find the physical copy of it, but I didn't find the Shrubbery of Darkness album is actually dedicated to Peter, because like that whole sound that I was getting on that album was kind of developed while I was writing music for Peter's games. Like
Hmm.
there's actually some unreleased stuff that I didn't finish that really kind of solidified it for me. There was one particular track which I should finish one of these days. But anyway, so so yeah, so um, Peter's had this.
Wasn't one of those tracks like your like master's thesis or something like that? You had like a full live orchestra playing it, and that was for the sci-fi game, right?
Yeah, yeah. So
Mhm.
and I've had that online. I don't think I have it online right now, but it it was actually kind of not above level. So the story behind that was that I took this. I was just finishing school, college, and yeah, graduated 97, I believe, and I had taken a class that was basically orchestral writing in college, and I did some experimental kind of clips that I had written for a piece based on the Silmarillion by J.R.R. Tolkien, and a lot of that was kind of funky because I was, pushing things, and it didn't come out great, and so then like the very first semester that I wasn't in school, uh, I was like, I wonder if I can get in on this class's symphony readings at the end of, because what they would do is they would have you uh, write some music, and then they would do a live reading of the pieces. So they get it like an orchestra together, and then they would have the orchestra sight read what you had done, and then you might get a second take. And so So for this next year, I wasn't even in the class. I wasn't even a student there anymore. But it was the very next semester. So I went to.
This is the indie mentality, man. You just get things done however you can.
So I went to Dr. Klein, who was the professor of that class at that point, and I said, "Hey, man, can I get in on the readings at the end of the semester with your orchestral class?" And he's like, "Sure." And so even he didn't know that I wasn't a student anymore, because so I like wrote this piece, and I did it completely opposite of this when I had actually been in the class. I wrote it like really dead simple, like I was pretending I was writing for like 7th graders, and so they were able to sight read it, and mostly it was okay except for one like courtesy accidental that I didn't put for a trombone player, and it kind of ruined one of the chords, But yeah, and then I went back and added some piano that I recorded in the choir hall, snuck into the choir hall and recorded some piano and overlaid it because it wasn't loud enough in the mix. Anyway, so
100% indie. This is how it's done.
Yeah, and I remember shipping you like a MIDI mock-up, which was a terrible sounding, just general MIDI.
I thought it sounded great.
But yeah,
I mean, so this is the difference between like, you know, a master who can like, the chord's slightly off, and like the layman, I'm just like, holy crap, this sounds awesome.
Well, yeah, eventually we got a full live symphony orchestra recording for that, but it's right now it's not used in anything. But it's
well, you did the redo. You redid it, changed quite a bit, and that's what we're using as the main theme in Dragonhold.
That's actually a completely different composition. There's like,
oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, there's like no.
You told me it was a redo.
It's not a redo. Yeah,
I know.
The Dragonhold theme is just absolutely unrelated. Like.
Oh, okay. I thought it was a redo of the original space game theme, and you made it like more fantasy to since Dragonhold is like medieval-ish as opposed to futuristic. But okay, whatever. I don't know. Sounds good.
Sorry. Well, I mean, it's kind of good that it's not the same, I guess. I don't know. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so yeah, obviously, Peter and I have a big history together, which I couldn't even get through the introduction, and we just started talking. So yeah, my first question was, how do we meet? That's still good.
I don't know. I don't remember. It was too long ago, and my brain is fuzz at this point.
Okay.
I met you in the dawn of civilization in the 90s. we crawled out of a cave and saw each other, and we were like, hello.
I can answer it then. So we met. Do you remember the Gamma? They don't think they even call it this anymore, but there was a site called GammaSutra.com, and that is like where the Game Developer Conference. It's the same organization, and they used to have forums, which they got rid of their forums eons ago.
I mean, they even got rid of the name. It's just Game Developer now.
Yeah, it's not. They don't even have Gamma Sutra anymore. I guess it was too like.
They straight up said it was too childish, and they're changing it.
Oh, it was too childish. Okay, I thought I was gonna say immature, or I don't.
Yeah, same thing.
Or maybe adult. I don't know. But okay, so we were hanging out there, and I think I was looking for a project. I was looking to do like a simple space 2D game, and I remember talking about like doing this thing where we had simple goals, and we had like a simple, and then I joined Peter's project, and it was a big.
I was trying to make an MMO.
It was a big scope. But anyway,
first project.
It was super fun. I did a lot of sound design and music for that project. Okay. So yeah, next question is so out of that, I think it went through several names and things, but out of that grew Exis Interactive. So tell me about your company.
Yeah, so back then it was actually called ExileWorks, and there was a Canadian company called Exile Interactive. And I emailed them. I remember I emailed them, and I was like, hey, you guys are using my name. What's up with that? they didn't respond. But then like the next day, I checked the USPTO, and like that day they had applied
Oh
legally for the
no.
name. And I was like, oh no, what have I done? I didn't know anything about, prior art or use in business at that point. So I was like, dang it, I got to change the name.
Oh, I need to switch to you. There you go.
What's
Keep
that?
talking.
Oh, yeah, okay. So then I went to work at a studio for a couple of years, and I met a lot of really great people, learned a ton of stuff, and then like around 2003, I started Exis officially, and since then we've been working on just a ton of games. We're like located 15 minutes away from Firaxis, and we've worked on a bunch of their projects, Civ 4, Civ 5. A bunch of the one-off games that Sid Meier released on mobile and things like that. We worked with Day One Studios before they were purchased by Wargaming on Fear. I think it was Fear 3. Just a ton of AAA projects over the last 20 years. Most recently we worked on Delta Force. So I think there's like a ton of people playing that on Steam, the multiplayer remake. So it's been interesting, and we take kind of the lessons we learn from working on all these top tier games and kind of put them into our own game. And 2 weeks from now, we're releasing our first big title. It's not the first title we've released, but it is our first big title, and it's called Dragonhold.
That's awesome, man. Congratulations on getting that out the door. It's
yeah.
And so many collaborations. Now, with these collaborations, is it mostly like 3D art and animation, or are you doing code, or what? Like, how does that
Oh,
work?
all of it. We've done everything from UI design to code to doing 3D art, level design. Like we did a ton of level design for Delta Force. We did characters, we did weapons. We've done full projects from start to finish before for clients. So it's essentially a full service studio. We're indie, we're small, but we have a lot of really experienced people.
That's great that you have such a versatile and skilled crew at your disposal. Peter's art is awesome. Like I've always loved your concepts and the sci-fi designs, and it's really cool stuff. Let's see. And then also I love Peter's writing. Like I always thought you have the most interesting stories and concepts for the games. So I want to ask you what are your influences as a writer? And you've even worked on books, right? Like you have.
I've written about like 180 pages of the background for Dragonhold. Dragonhold actually takes place in a much larger game universe called Shadow Method. And so I've written about 180 some pages of the book that kind of outlines what that world is all about. It's interesting, like, Lord of the Rings didn't really enter into my sphere of understanding until the movies. I'd never read the books back in the day. But oddly enough, I had read a lot of David Eddings. And Eddings was himself inspired by Tolkien. And apparently he'd learned from Tolkien, so they'd spent some time together. The Belgariad, the Malorian, Belgareth the Sorcerer, Polgara the Sorceress, like all of these books that David Eddings and his wife wrote together over the years, they really had an impact on me, both in framing my ideas about fantasy and literature in general, to kind of really opening my mind to what are the possibilities in fiction. What can you do? What's out there? How fantastic can you get and still hold an audience's attention? So I love those books. I've just recently started listening to them, some of them again on audio.
Oh, really?
Because I have no time to do anything with 2 kids these days. But like it's interesting to get that it's scratched a little bit by listening to the old books again.
Nice. I didn't know that the Dragonhold was part of this Shadow Method. I didn't know you were talking about Shadow Method. Like, because there's a track on my first album called Shadow Stalkers, and it's a hint to that name. I didn't want to like say the full name, so.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's Dragonhold is essentially one of the first stories in the Shadow Method game universe, where the stuff you and I worked on back in the day actually takes place like in the middle of the timeline. So instead of doing the Lucas thing and starting at the middle, actually I started at the beginning. So hopefully, if I'm lucky enough and people are interested in the game and the world, I can continue to tell this story because I've got it like figured out for quite a ways down the line.
Nice. So yeah, this dude is deep. Like, I love it. Okay, let's see. And then, what are your influences as an artist?
I got to tell you, it's Joe Benitez and Mark Silvestri. I had the opportunity to meet Matt Hawkins, who is now the CEO of Top Cow Comics, way back in the day. And I used to read their comic Weapon Zero, and I absolutely fell in love with it. And the art style in that is just this gorgeous kind of blending of mechanical and organic that looks nothing like Geiger. And I've always found that whenever someone does something organic and and techie, it always ends up looking like Geiger. But then you have like the style that Mark Silvestri and Joe Benitez developed for the Weapon Zero comic, which is it's such a beautiful marriage of the two styles that I've never been able to really look at anything the same way after I read their comics.
Nice. And I actually have a theme that I did for a Weapon Zero thing. That's one of the themes I was alluding to, like that I wish.
Yeah, I mean, I started reading the comics and I was like, oh my god, this is so cool. I got some friends together. We made a demo, like a 3D game demo. And when I was out in LA visiting my friend Lewis, we went to the Top Cow office and I showed it to them. They're like, "Oh, this is awesome!" And so I actually met with Matt Hawkins at I think it was GDC later that year, and he went booth to booth with me, like pitching it to publishers. So I mean, awesome guy, awesome team. Top Cow is just top notch. They've got a lot of awesome stuff going on right now. You should check out their comics. But I will never forget how gracious they were to just a young kid who was enamored by their work and decided to build something off of it.
Yeah, I ended up buying some of those comics, and I agree with you. Like, the art style is really cool, like
phenomenal.
I want to get. There's not a lot of them, but I want to get more of them. And it's great stuff. And I should finish that theme. Anyway, let's see. That's cool. And some of the Mark Silvestri was part of Image too, right? Like.
Be honest with you, I only know them from Top Cow. I'm not like the biggest comic book reader. For me, it's mostly about the art, and the art of Weapon Zero just drew me in and like changed my world. Nice.
Yeah. So I think both those guys, I don't know. I think they did work for Image. I'm unclear on the thing, but yeah. There's cyber something or other. There was another title that was similar. Anyway. Let's see. How did you get into 3D art?
I bought a book that had a CD in the back cover for True Space 3D, and this was probably like circa 94, 95, something like that. And like that just started me on the trek, right? Because I learned how to, the first thing I made, believe it or not, was actually a dragon, which is weird because that's what Dragonhold's all about. But it was like made out of like boxes and cubes and just like spheres and things like that. It was absolutely terrible. But like True Space got me started. I eventually picked up 3ds Max and I just kept going at it for years until I got good. And when I got hired at my first studio, it was as a 3D artist. So, I just self-taught, man. A lot of hard work.
Nice. True Space.
Pressing buttons, getting errors.
My ex-wife took a 3D class in college, and they used True Space. And I was like, I've never even heard of this program. Like, who uses True? This is like
it's long gone now.
This is the first time I heard of that since my ex-wife was taking that class. So
Mm-hmm.
there were other people who used it, but it was your starting app. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that's
Yeah,
cool.
got it for $15 in the back of a book.
Nice. That's interesting. Okay. Oh yeah, so this goes in. You talked about this a little bit, but what are some of your favorite collaborations that you've done with other
Uh,
companies? Is what I'm thinking about.
hmm. It's interesting. Like I've worked with a lot of the people who kind of shaped the industry back in the early days. I've had a chance to work with Sid Meier's. I've had a chance to work with. Oh my God, I'm blanking right now. Like I had a list when I first started, and I was like, if I've worked with these people, I'm set. So there was definitely Sid Meier. I got a chance to work with John Romero very briefly on a Terminator project he was doing, and just seeing what those people have created over the years is just phenomenal. But really, the collaborations that mean the most to me are the ones I do with my team. Working with you all these years, we're become good friends over the years. Working with the guys I'm working with now, we're an extremely small team, but it's very collaborative and it's a lot of fun. We're building the worlds that we want to build, and I can't think of anything more enjoyable.
Nice. Thank you for putting me in the list. Wasn't expecting that. Let's see. So tell us more about Dragonhold. You've talked about it some already, but
Yeah. So I mean, there are no dragon games anymore, man. Like, and I know why. Like, flight is extremely hard to do well. Like, it opens you up to so many technical challenges. It's just staggering. Um, and there was the promise of a game called Scalebound some years ago that would, really give you that feeling of having a giant dragon and partnering with him and doing all this cool stuff. But even that got canceled. And for me, this game actually came out of, believe it or not, a back injury.
oh wow, I didn't know that.
I want to say, yeah, like 10, 12, 13 years ago at this point, I hurt my back really bad and I couldn't walk for a couple of months. And so I'm just kind of like laying in bed and staring up at the ceiling and like I'm like, God, I wish I could just move. I could just move a little bit. And after a while I was like, I just want to get up. I want to walk around. And I'm starting to like hallucinate about all the different, flying as a form of freedom, because I'm stuck in this bed. And like, the most powerful thing in the air is a dragon. So like that stuck with me. Eventually I was able to, start walking again, thank goodness. But like that kept that imagery that I saw when I was kind of just like, oh, I can't do anything. That imagery stuck with me. And it was interesting because it made perfect sense as a starting point for the Shadow Method world that I wanted to build. So I've worked all that together, and the interesting thing is now, some 12, 13 years later, as we're about to release Dragonhold in about 2 weeks, I just had back surgery again. So it started with destroying my back and getting surgery, and it's ending with me getting surgery. Thankfully I can sit and walk around now, but
I appreciate
it's been an interesting journey
hanging out with
to
me
build
and
this
doing this.
game.
I appreciate you hanging out with me and doing this interview too, because I know this is
Well, it's great. It's been a lot
taxing.
of fun. I think players are really going to like Dragonhold. It's got some really unique mechanics. You can transform between your human and your dragon form. The humans carry the dragons around in a little amulet around their neck, and there's some. I've always been a fan of game worlds or just writing, written worlds in general. The good guys aren't like these paragons of virtue, and like they're real to some degree, right? So like in Dragonhold, in order to soul bind a dragon into your amulet, you kind of have to kill it and take its soul.
Oh really?
Yeah, so it's not necessarily a partnership a lot of the time when it starts out, but over the years as Dragon and Rider are they spend more time with each other, and their souls start intermingling and things like that. They either form a mutual respect, or they start to feel as one.
Interesting.
So there's some moral gray spots in this game that people are going to have to pay attention to.
Have you read the Fourth Wing stuff?
No, what's that?
Oh, it's a new popular series that actually has stuff about bonding between the rider and the dragon. It's a little different from what you're saying, because it's more voluntary, whereas you're saying you're basically destroying the dragon. So that's...
Well, not always. Like some of the some of the dragons say like, okay, my time is coming, and instead of just going into the whatever the next thing is, like I want to be soulbound, because they can stick around for as long as they want within that structure. So it's not all involuntary. Some dragons give themselves over to what's called the boundless order, in order to serve Aval, which is the world.
Cool. I love it. Let's see. Yeah, and I was going to ask, how is Dragonhold different from other games?
Yeah, I mean, so we have that mechanic. We also have the ability for the player to build their own base. You start out with your own hub island, nice. And there's like these different buildings you can place, and every time you place a building, it unlocks a new feature in the game. So you fight in this area called Azarkeen, and you gain resources and go on missions. You bring it back to your hub, and you can build these buildings. Eventually, we want to expand that to letting you kind of creatively build whatever you want. Place walls and decorate everything, kind of like you do in some of these like not exactly like Minecraft, but like in these games where you're able to build out whatever you want. We're going to give people the tools to do that.
Is it a little bit
so you
RTS?
have your hub island. What's that?
Is it a little bit RTS?
So there isn't any RTS elements. I would imagine, like if you look at this hub that you're building, it's kind of like a visual tech tree, right? So like every time you go on a mission and you're successful, you bring back what's called an anchor stone, and you kind of like you place it in this altar, and it builds like a portion of the castle for you. I don't want to give away too much of the story, but basically you're rebuilding Dragonhold Castle. Cool. And it's interesting. I took a sociology class way back in the day, and a philosophy class, and there was this thing called the theory of ideal forms, right? So like everything in the universe has like an ideal form of what this object is. Like tables have table-ness, or microphones have microphone-ness, and every physical manifestation of this ideal form that exists in the world is, it's different, but they're all attempting to get to this perfect form. And that's kind of how Dragonhold Castle exists in this game world. It's kind of like this mythical, like extra dimensional castle that you can rebuild in different places if you have the right kind of, I guess, mythical tech, like magitech, in order to do so. Magical tech in order to do so. And so like our player is going to be rebuilding Dragonhold Castle from the very beginning on their hub island, but they can also build this village underneath, and eventually, like I said, they'll be able to build it at however they want.
Cool. I like it. Yeah, it's always interesting when I remember the Final Fantasy games would do these crazy tech trees and all these gizmos and whatchamacallits and this. But this is another.
Yeah, I mean, we've gone deep in all that stuff. Like the player has their own ability tree. There's all these things you can forge, different weapons, armor, items. I think we're up to like 77 different kinds of enemies you can fight. It's a little bonkers.
Nice. Let's see. Also, tell me a bit about Majestic 12.
Yeah, so you did some music for that one too. I think like a couple of the tracks in the levels. That was the first game we released on Steam, like 12 years ago, I think. That one, it was like a side scroller, but it was I actually hadn't seen anything like this before. It was a 3D game side scroller that had like depth in the game field, but it still played kind of like a 2D dual stick kind of thing. I mean, it's up on our Steam. You can check it out. It's like $8. But it was these guys. I called them Potato Men, Like the whole type of art style for that was like Potato Men.
They remind me a little of like minifigs or something, you know.
Yeah, they were just like these tiny little guys, like these fat little bodies with these arms and legs, and they had like their machine guns and running around. Um, and like the we gave them the fun names like Zach Action Man, Guido Slickman, Robert Braunman, and JT Jenny, which stood for Junk Trunk Jenny. He's got like a yeah.
Nice.
So I mean, it was silly. We were kids. We were making a fun little game. But there's like a couple of tracks in there for the different levels that are Scott Morgan originals, which is just us again collaborating throughout the years.
Yeah, I actually, now that I think about it, like it'd be funny to see a reskin of them using like minions from.
Believe it or not, I did reskin it once with like. What is it? It was for one of the presidential campaigns, just for fun. I made like it was Barack Obama and like Mitt Romney and like Reagan and Clinton with like these fat little versions of them running around. It was hilarious.
That is funny. See, I don't know if you can see the icon down here.
Yeah, so like my user icon for pretty much anything is Zach Action Man, even though like I modeled the Guido Slickman guy after myself.
Oh, okay. Nice. That's funny. Okay, let's see. What are some of your favorite games?
I absolutely adore Horizon Zero Dawn. Phenomenal game, just gorgeous. If we want to go back further, I enjoyed playing ActRaiser on the NES back in the day. Final Fantasy II US, which is 4 from Japan, is what got me into the game industry. But even before that, I remember playing Final Fantasy 1.
Wow.
Way back in the day. I love that stuff.
I didn't know you went so far back with Final Fantasy.
What's that?
I didn't know you went so far back with Final Fantasy.
Oh yeah, from the very first one. The very first one. And even before I played that, I used to play so in the US it was called Dragon Warrior, but Japan it was Dragon Quest. So, even before Final Fantasy, I used to play some of those games.
Is that one of the ones that Akira Toriyama worked on?
I don't know.
Or am I...
I'm not sure. I think you're probably Dragon Quest. Let me look it up real quick.
My fan base will be on top of this.
He was the main character and monster designer for the Dragon Quest series beginning in 1986. Yeah.
Yeah, so I started playing that a little bit, but I didn't get through it. But yeah, it's very Dragon Ball-ish, the designs. Anyway, cool. Let's see.
Yeah, that's right.
Where do you see the game industry going right now, and is this good or bad?
It's going into the sewer.
Oh no.
And that's bad. It's just become kind of nuts, right? Like everybody knew that there was going to be like a big bump during COVID, and then we knew it was going to go back to normal after COVID. But all the money people and all the investors that came rushing in during the COVID period either didn't know that or didn't care. And it's just been like a systematic wipeout of people and studios ever since. There was massive growth during that period, but then a massive reduction. And now it's just kind of like fundamentally changed the ethos of like a lot of these companies, where even if you have a successful product, you still get laid off. And it's the cost of games has gone up dramatically in making them. I remember back in the early 2000s, you could literally pitch an MMO for like $3 to $5 million, but now that's $100 million plus venture. It can be, anything can be huge, but it's kind of moving away from having these teams in North America to seeing like small teams in North America and then outsourcing to Latin America. And like I've seen, it's a little frustrating in a way. It's kind of locust like, right? You see them, they started in India, and then they went to China, and then Eastern Europe, and now Latin America. And it's just like they're moving who they hire out to ever cheaper and cheaper places. And I think it's having a real bad effect on the industry here in the US. I think gamers are kind of getting sick of being milked for every penny. If you're a developer and you can just offer some value, people don't necessarily hate microtransactions, but like offer them value for it. Don't make it something that you have to get in order to play the game. But if people are interested in some skins, like they can buy those, but don't make them too expensive, man. Like just like these are people, like just make cool stuff and give it to them, see if they're interested in it. You're seeing some really big indie success stories, and it makes it sound like any indie game can be successful, but the reality is that the vast majority of them fail. You're seeing so many different games come out. Like back in the day, I think it was like maybe 800 games a year on Steam. And that was considered a lot. This year, I think it was like 14,000. So you're seeing a lot of that. You're starting to see AI put its finger on the scale. A lot of gamers hate AI, but realistically, in order to just kind of keep costs normal, a lot of studios are going to start using it. Mostly you hear gamers say how much they hate AI art, but you never hear them talk about like, oh, I hate the AI programming. Right. And that's something that I've personally had like a bit of a chip on my shoulder over like my entire career in the game industry, is that everyone is so quick to denounce what's going on from art, but like no one ever says anything about the code because they can't, right? Like they're like, I can't code and I don't see it, so whatever's going on there must be fine. But like the number one use case for AI right now in games is code. They're right. Using it to build features. They're using it to speed that up. So eventually, I think the AI is going to get so good that people won't know and they won't care. But right now, I think, there's a lot of IP issues. There's as an artist myself, I'm like, oh, I don't want my stuff taken, So it's a whole messy thing going on right now. But I don't think we're going to be able to put that genie back in the bottle. And you've already got probably every major studio using it in some degree, whether it's code or helping with level design or, some art elements to speed things up, whether it's concepting and then, redoing it by hand or whatever it is. Every major studio out there is using it to some degree.
We just had a round table at my company the other day about this very subject, just to trying to get it out there and like, where are we going with it? But yeah, there was a point brought up that there's different, types of AI, and like the code one is very common, and it's less creative kind of AI as it is like just trying to figure out how to do something. There was do you need AI to figure out that 2 + 2 is 4? That is a very straightforward answer. And we think, people aren't maybe not so upset about that. But if it's replacing something creative, then that's where people might get more upset. And especially if it's stealing creative ideas from people, that it trained on, that's definitely problematic. But even
I agree with that. I would just say that if someone is complaining about AI stealing and they have ever where's the game before, like I don't want to hear it, man.
Yeah.
And that's a bit of a controversial take, right? Like I don't use AI because honestly I don't have time to figure it out at the moment. I've played around with the tools a little bit, but it's not viable for us. But I can understand where a lot of these studios are like, well, either we learn the new technology or we end up, so far behind the other studios that we just can't keep up. But yeah, like I said, I'm an artist myself. I don't want my stuff stolen. Mm-hmm. And so there has to be some sort of ethical use case here. both in training and in implementation. Like you can train stuff on whatever your own studio's already made.
Yep.
You know, there's studios that just have a massive backlog of art that they've created. Train it, use it again on your own project to speed it up and help you with concepting or whatever it is. And you know, I think that's one ethical use case that could probably be very viable.
Yeah, that's the kind of the second level we talked about. Like one is, you know, is it stolen? And then two, even if you get it so it's not stolen, is it acceptable then because you're replacing the creative output of a person? And so that was the next question. Like, yeah.
And I think a lot of these studios, just in tech in general, they're using it as a cover to just fire people. A lot of them massively overhired during COVID, and they're just using it to shed people. They're looking at the short-term gains. You know, we lay off X number of people, our stock price jumps for this quarter, and we quietly hire people back. And then we say the word AI enough that it makes the stock price jump. It's just, I don't know, that stuff is, I'm unconcerned with that, right? I'm making games and I'm loving it.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, I'm gonna switch subjects now because my fan base is Dragon Ball, and I know you're a Dragon Ball fan. I think you even had
big time
a Dragon Ball pitch at one point, right? So what's your favorite DBZ character and why?
Hands down, Vegeta.
Nice.
Hands down.
So tell us
in a
why.
split second. He is by far the coolest character in that entire show, in that entire like series of shows. And you see such a dramatic arc for that character, right? From being just pure evil in the Saiyan saga to, you know, Dragon Ball Super, where he's like a begrudging good guy. He's got his, you know, he's married to Bulma, he's got kids and all, you know, like it's just such a big arc. And, you know, the guy's kind of a prick, and I can relate to
He's totally. I'm like, what is this guy doing? Like, just stop.
Yeah, I can kind of relate to his prickly nature. So I gotta say, I'm a huge Vegeta fan.
Nice.
And I feel like honestly, like a lot of the series, like they were doing him dirty, right? Like he was getting beat up by people he shouldn't be getting beat up by. I feel like there's been a good number of times you could beat the ever living crap out of Goku's happy-go-lucky butt. But you know, they're buddies now, and I think that's something true of a lot of guys. Like you get in a fight with someone and then later on you like become best buddies.
Yeah, I gotta show you something. Okay, so I'm gonna switch the camera to me. There's the M. And then,
nice, Majin Vegeta. There you go.
I saw this.
Rock
shirt.
on.
I don't know if you can see that. I can't see the camera, so I'm like.
I can see it. Yeah, it's awesome.
But I went to Disneyland and somebody had this shirt, and then we had to find it on Etsy or whatever, and I ordered it.
Awesome.
I thought it was pretty cool. Okay, let's see.
I should just draw like a little widow's peak on myself right here and like fluff my hair up.
Nice. What's your? I think I know what they want to. Yeah. What's your favorite DBZ arc and why?
I mean, so I really loved Dragon Ball Super's like first season where it was like the whole tournament of the gods and stuff. I thought that was awesome. But like I've just been watching it for so long. Watching the characters grow has been like the most interesting arc. And again, Vegeta, his character development over the years has been my favorite part of the whole show.
Nice. So that answers my next question: is if you've been watching Dragon Ball Super or not?
Yeah.
But so are you actually watched the whole thing or like?
I watched the first 100 episodes.
Nice. Wow.
Yeah.
I watched. Well, actually, I'll admit I didn't watch it. But I did get a bunch of the manga and was reading it on the bus on the way to. I don't ride the bus anymore, but and also the manga wasn't keeping up with the show as much. But I read a fair amount of the manga, and then I went and saw.
Yeah, I think they have a lot of cool characters popping up in Dragon Ball Super. I really like Jiren and Hid and all those guys.
Yeah, and then a friend of mine, Halusa Twin, who's a composer who does a lot of DBZ fan music. He does like themes for each characters that come up. So I've seen a lot of these characters just come up as themes on Halusa Twin's channel. It's pretty cool. Let's see. What else we got? I guess that's all my questions. I don't I don't have like a great ending for this. I guess do you have anything else that you just want to say? Like,
Yeah, go wishlist Dragon.
of course.
Go wishlist and buy Dragonhold. It's coming out in 2 weeks. Like, it's probably the only dragon riding game where you can actually do stuff.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm gonna play it. It's exciting. Yeah, and check out the theme for it. That's
Yeah, it's a Scott Morgan original.
I think I wrote that. What year was that? Like,
I mean, it's been a while. We've been working on this game for a long time.
I think I wrote that theme back in 2000. Was it 15 or
No way.
not that long?
Had to be like around 2019, 2020, maybe.
During the pandemic?
Just before. Because I was actually at the Tokyo Game Show September of 2019, like right before the pandemic. Like, I was over there, and I came back and we started hearing news of like some mysterious illness gripping the world.
Oh, that could be it. Because I remember I was unemployed, and there was a period where I was laid off by Roland, and it was before I got hired by that game company. So maybe I wrote it in that gap, because I got hired by that game company in 2020, the end of 2020, I think it was.
Yeah, I think it was just before then. Yep.
So that would make sense. Yeah. Cool. All right.
Yeah. Do you want to show your audience? I can show them
yes.
the intro movie to Dragonhold if they want to see it.
Yeah, and whatever you want to show. So you just show your screen, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ancient. That doesn't begin to describe it. It's primeval, forged in the war that created reality, a weapon of the gods. And now, eons later, demigods play with our fate by unleashing this misery once more. And our home of all withers under the glare of the new dawn. Your master is long dead, and with her our hope. But they say a shard of the Yellow Witch survives in you, that she whispers in your mind, compels you to restore balance. They call you Dragon Rider, flame of the sullen phoenix, the boundless. Tell me then, boundless, will you save us? 10 you save us?
There it is.
Awesome, man. I love that art. The big monster in the background with the tongue coming out.
Yeah, you can fight that guy.
I love the big hulking things in the yeah. It's
We really went for a sense of scale. Like, there's some gigantic creatures in this game that you got to take on.
nice. Yeah, that's super great. Okay, well, it's been great talking to you again, man. We don't talk face to face very often.
I know. Well, I mean, Discord works now, so we can just we can keep up this way.
So it was great talking to you again, and yeah, go check out Dragonhold. All right.
All right. Talk to you later, Scott.
Good seeing you,
Bye.
man.
You too. See ya.